Good morning or afternoon, everyone. My name is Mariela Salinas, and I'm a marketing specialist here at Educate 360. Welcome to today's webinar, The Strategic Project Manager, presented by our expert instructor for today, Andrea Brockmeyer. We are in Zoom for today's session, and we will be sharing a copy of this recording with you in an email after the webinar. We do encourage participation throughout the webinar, so please use the chat or the Q&A option for our short Q&A portion after the presentation. Educate 360 is so excited to present this webinar today, so without further ado, I will now hand it over to you, Andrea.
Thank you so much, Mariela. Greetings, everyone. It's terrific to be here with you today to talk about strategic project management. So here's where we're going to start. OMG, what is a project? But wait, before you sign off, because you thought this was going to be something kind of interesting. What is a project? Of course, it's a temporary endeavor designed to produce a unique product, service, or result. But also consider that it's how organizations adapt to change. Yeah. We've been talking about that for a while. What are projects? Projects are vehicles for executing organizational strategy. Okay. And when you think about that as a project manager, that's a different lens that you're looking through, as opposed to thinking about just delivering something new or unique, right? It's a vehicle for executing organizational strategy. Okay. What do we need to do to be able to do that? Okay. If I'm gonna be driving that, that's a different thing. So what is strategic thinking? Okay. Well, different thoughts about what that is. It's the ability to see patterns and make links, even when there's a lot of detail, and to see the big picture. So it's being able to see holistically and yet to discern what's happening by finding patterns of behavior, patterns in results, patterns in artifacts, patterns in our environment. It's a more systemic and holistic view of your environment. We think of people who are strategic as having a very wide view of things. And it's finding and developing unique opportunities that create value through challenging and creative dialogue, not just settling for how things are, how things seem. Right? Well, that's all well and good, but I am a project manager. I have trained as a project manager. I've spent a career developing project management skills. That is what I do. And it is a heavily tactical thing. There is no doubt about it. People don't always look to project managers and think strategy. They look to project managers and they think about getting things done. That's what we pride ourselves on. That's the satisfaction in being a project manager, being able to deliver something, getting something done, being able to tell people, hey, we finished, yay. It's the management of those details. It's doing something to achieve some objective, meeting milestones, hitting deliverables. It's very much focused on current state. What is the project right here in front of us? How are we handling that? How are we managing that? That's all good stuff. Absolutely. It's good stuff. It's something that everybody's good at. As project managers, we bring that to the table for sure. That strategic piece is different. The strategic stuff is thinking not just about, what's happening right in front of us, but it's having the foresight to anticipate, really digging into that risk management element, really. And other things, though, and maybe in the business, maybe in the environment, looking for those trends and patterns. Are people behaving as they have in the past? Is the team performing as it has in the past? Is the project hitting milestones like it has in the past? What's happening in our wider environment? It's very future oriented. So while project managers can be very consumed with what's happening right now, strategically, we need to be thinking in the future. So to be a strategic project manager, we have to stretch ourselves. We have to embrace the tactical part of what we do because there's absolutely value there. But we also have to think about, how do I develop that strategic piece? How do I really, as I mature as a project manager, how do I embrace that and really add that to my value proposition for the organization? So if I had an organization, let's say it was my organization, why would I want strategic thinkers in my organization? Project managers or anybody. Why would I want to make sure that people think strategically? Because you think about, I need tacticians. I need people to get things done. I need people to take ownership and do things. Well, but you also need people to take initiative on things, right? When they see a need, they have that future. They're anticipating, right? We need creativity and innovation. That's not so much a tactical thing. That's a strategic thing. The whole idea of meeting the customer need before the customer even is aware it is a need. Getting somebody something they want before they realize they want it. Inquiry, strong inquiry skills, the ability and the willingness and the courage to ask questions about the status quo, to ask people that maybe they aren't right next to physically or hierarchically or departmentally, right? Really reaching out and getting answers to questions, challenging things in a constructive way. Recognizing that we're not going to survive just by being complacent about where we're at. Uncovering alternatives. There are always alternatives. There's more than one way to the top of the mountain. We may have one in mind, but what other options are there? I want everybody to be thinking like that, and I certainly want my project managers to be thinking like that. We've got a project plan, it's a roadmap, but it's an example of one way to get to where we're going, right? Because things are always evolving and changing. Projects are, as we say in my classes, projects are alive. Okay, well, we need to be alive as well. We need to be strategic. So a few top tips, there are many tips, but a few top tips for strategic thinking. First of all, get over yourself. Okay. So if you remember from Star Wars, the scene where Luke is going into the dark woods, it's like a cave in the woods. And he's turning around and he's been working with Yoda, and he asks Yoda, "What's in there?" And he says, "So what's in there?" And Yoda says, "Only what you take with you." Right? Which is, and lots of discussion. I'm sure there are university webinars around this discussion and others in Star Wars. But what is he saying? That what you perceive is really a function of your own way of thinking, right? Your own when you're going to learn something new, you take with you your perceptions and your ideas that impact what you see. And as a project manager, we want to really be strategic in our thinking. We want to try to keep our own biases, try to keep the baggage that we bring to things off to the side, to free ourselves from that, to really liberate ourselves, to be able to see things with a fresh perspective. Strategic thinking tip number 2, seek out other perspectives and listen to them. Okay. So I love it when people say, the advice is you need to seek out other perspectives, find out what other people think about things, but not just find out, but actually listen to them. Take them into account. Do get over yourself and then go out and find out what other people are thinking. Try to go in with an empty vessel and then listen to those perspectives. Take into account how they got there. Challenge your assumptions. What are your conclusions? Are they reasonable? And then listen to other people's assumptions and conclusions. We all go through the same process in creating our perspective of our world. There's data out there. We select certain things to pay attention to. We kind of wrap them around with our culture, our own personality, our family history, all these things. We all go through these processes to create our own perspectives. So it's fine. We have to do that. But we owe it to ourselves and to our stakeholders and to our organizations to take a step back and really be willing to say, is this the best way to achieve this? Are these the best resources to use? If I'm going to be the steward of the organization's resources, I need to make sure I'm making the best decisions about how to use those resources. Timing for communications, strategic connections with stakeholders, finding out what are their perspectives and listen to them. Be curious, right? Just are there other ways of doing this? Are there people that have done things differently? And I love this quote from Twain. It ain't what you don't know that gets you into trouble. It's what you do know that just ain't so. That's a good one. Those are words to live by, right? Got to be careful about what it is that you think you know. And, for project managers who spend a lifetime, a career, maybe not a lifetime, but a career developing as project managers. And maybe we get certified and we invest a lot of time and energy and wading through bodies of knowledge and understanding the discipline in excruciating detail. And we really pride ourselves on that. I mean, we spend a good part of our careers often getting ourselves to think a certain way. And as we mature in our practice, we need to be able to, take a step back from that and take a look at other ways of doing things. Maybe it's just being, taking an agile approach to something that challenges the way that we've sort of been brought up professionally. Again, and we owe it to ourselves. It makes life more interesting. And that curiosity, that healthy curiosity and being intrigued by things is going to benefit everybody. And strategic thinking tip number 3 is to see the big picture. I mentioned looking for patterns and really embrace a growth mindset. I think that sometimes as project managers, we are a little myopic, because we have the milestones, we have the deliverables, we often come up with very detailed plans with very discrete objectives and things that we are looking to deliver to certain people at a certain point of time. And it is easy to get fixated on that because people are demanding that of us. People are looking for those things from us. And we are really the custodians of that process to be able to deliver those things on those particular timelines, right? But sometimes we miss the bigger picture. Sometimes maybe we miss the consequences of things that we do for others. We don't always see how the parts of the whole work together, as well as maybe other professionals do. I don't know that we're always trained to do that. I think we really define everything through the lens of the project. And again, a lot of value to that. People are looking for us to do that, but sometimes we need to take a step back and see, for example, when we're changing a process in a project, what are the implications of that process for other parts of the organization, possibly even stakeholders that we haven't identified? And I can think of practitioners that I've talked to who have said they found out about, they were midway through a project and somebody said, well, why didn't you let them know? And they're like, well, we didn't even know they existed. And that can be because, organizations are reorganizing or transforming or whatever. But I think sometimes we're not good at really stepping back and making sure we've identified all stakeholders and making sure that we've really thought about implications of deliverables for processes or the implications of process change for other people that maybe aren't on our radar. And so that's something. And then also just having that growth mindset. That's just part of professional development. And part of this becoming a strategic project manager is a professional development ethos, really. We start out with the tactics. We start out getting certified and learning how to develop schedules and meet milestones and create, risk registers and those kinds of things. But we need to, as we grow as a project manager, it's really about becoming more strategic, which is really growing professionally, growing intellectually, growing strategically. So one of the things that a project manager can do to really become more strategic is to understand business analysis and what to expect from business analysts. So as a project manager, one of the things that you can add, we grow professionally by taking more project management courses. And, we maybe do deep dives into risk management and get certified in that, or scheduling, or stakeholder analysis, and those kinds of things. But to become strategic for a project manager, really it's incumbent upon you as a PM to go beyond the boundaries of what you think of as project management. And business analysis is an enormous opportunity for many PMs to expand their understanding of what it means to be a project manager and to enable them to be more strategic. So project managers as stewards of the project absolutely have a mandate. BAs as stewards of the product or the result that we're delivering, the solution to the business problem, also have a mandate. And they're two different things that they're thinking about. And so one of the things that I think BAs tend to do better than PMs is I think it's just baked into the BA's DNA to have a very large holistic perspective. They're sort of trained, they just sort of come out of the chute with that wider perspective, I think, often, because they're thinking about the solution. They're dialed in on that business need. I'm not saying PMs aren't aware of it, but that's where the BAs start. And so they're, and to the extent that they're often business process experts, they are sort of geared towards looking at process and the implications for things more broadly. And so as a PM, you can really benefit from injecting your PM practice and mindset with some business analysis. And it makes you more, your conversations with BAs more substantive. Also, it's very interesting. The more you learn about business analysis, the more you understand what PM is and isn't. These are two different disciplines. The vast majority of PMs do some business analysis. So learn about BA and see where those things are different, where do they meet? And it also then will put you in a better position to work strategically with your BA. Too often we have the BA sort of as a too often the BA is sort of subservient to the PM. That's really not the best way to organize. Really, you should be treating them as peers. You really should. And because they're equally important. And that for an organization is how you're going to get the best strategic perspectives and the best strategic professional work from both your BAs and your PMs. Pearl, you're not alone. You are absolutely not alone. If BA isn't your thing, you still owe it to yourself to learn a little bit about it. I'm not saying you have to go, become a CBAP or a PBA or, get certified. But if you learn a little bit about it, it's amazing the lights that will go on for you as a PM. Trust me, it's pretty interesting. And then if you don't like it, you are in a position to advocate for getting BA resources because it all of a sudden you become aware of how critical it is. So the business case then, the strategic PM and the business case. So as you know, because you maybe have studied the standards or that kind of thing, but the business case is the input into the charter, right? It's the justification for the project. It answers the why. The business case actually is kind of BA work. But the PM, they talk about the PM being involved in that. Now, I don't care if you write it or not, but the PM absolutely needs to know what the business case is. You need to understand what that business case says. So you may have the charter, but I would step back and make sure you can see that business case too. If there isn't a formal business case, because there may not need to be one, the work of developing a business case still needs to have been done. Okay. The thinking behind what goes into a business case still needs to be done, and the PM absolutely needs to have their finger on the pulse of that. They need to know why are we doing this? What is the business case for investing these resources? If I don't have a sense of that, how can I be strategic as I'm managing organizational resources? So if that's for some reason something that you're not privy to, you need to ask around. Again, be curious. Hey, where is it? Yeah, I really should see that. And then you can also use it when you're communicating with your stakeholders, not the least of whom are your team members. Everybody should know what the business case is about. Otherwise, how do you make sense of what you're doing? How can you validate or identify your value proposition? I don't care what your role is in the project. These should be on the organization's billboard, right? So find out so you can help evangelize that business case. It's a motivator. Who wants to come in every day with their head in the trenches and not understanding the value of what they're doing? Business case provides that value proposition context. The other thing to think about is the strategic PM and business relationship management. So, business relationship management is all about really understanding the power of a relationship centered organization and understanding that employees' purpose and organizational purpose do not need to be at odds. That organizations do best when they are aligned, when there's energy between the among the people in an organization, that employees are motivated, that they are committed to what the organization is about. And business relationship management is tapping into those relationships, developing relationships to evolve culture, build partnerships, true partnerships, drive value, and satisfy purpose. And that's purpose for the organization and for the people in them. And this sounds like really simple stuff, but it is actually really powerful. It is a you can tell organizations that embrace this kind of business relationship mindset and really work with the theory of relationshipism. Yes, there is such a thing, and those that don't. And organizations do a lot better when people come in and feel connected to each other and truly partner on things. This is where, again, you get innovation and creativity and people problem solving and alignment. It can be a really cool thing to see happen. And so, strategically, as a PM, if you can tap into that, that helps you as you move through the project see where there are opportunities for doing those things. Another thing you might not think of is, as PMs, we talk a lot, we talk a lot, we talk a lot. We have meetings with people and we talk a lot. And sometimes people are just tapped out. They're either they're taking words in visually or auditorially, and sometimes it's just that you still don't get it. Sometimes the best thing to do is just stop talking and draw a picture. And so sometimes having some experience and skills with modeling can go a long way. BAs do a lot of this. This is absolutely part of their core toolkit. I think it's an opportunity for many PMs. Work breakdown structures we have experience with. That's a great example of modeling that helps people understand things. It's one of my favorite PM tool. Traceability matrices, models, diagrams, process models and diagrams. Just to dip your toe in this a little bit, get a little exposure and experience with this. One, to either give yourself some courage to do it yourself. Don't worry about it being right. At the beginning, you don't have to be a modeling expert, but be comfortable painting pictures for people to reconcile mental models, to make sure people are on the same page, to confirm that there's understanding. But also, as you expand out into understanding BA a little bit and working with BAs more constructively, this is something that they do. And so it enables you to engage better with them on that. So this is something that is a great opportunity for many PMs and really can help be strategic when you're struggling. Uh, when you're struggling to communicate and to make sure that people are understanding things. So the benefits of strategic thinking, I love this quote: "A vision without a strategy remains an illusion," right? You can have a beautiful vision, but you need a strategy of how to get there. Now, it's not our job to set strategy, but we as project managers need to know the strategy in terms of our project and how it helps the organization achieve its goal, right? Strategic, how it enables it to achieve its strategic objectives. It also helps us be more agile. If we're strategic, we're not stuck in one road. We can adjust as we need to. We can take a different direction as we need to. We can use other resources if we need to. People are going to be more engaged when they feel a connection to the organizational strategy. They're not coming in every day just, another cog in the wheel. And people are going to take more ownership if they have a sense of how what they're doing is helping the big ship get to where it needs to go. That's what people want to be a part of. They want to feel like their involvement matters. And if I feel like what I'm doing is helping this organization achieve its strategic objectives, that's pretty compelling. So I think the question really is, can organizations really afford project managers who aren't developing their strategic skills? You're not going to be there right away. We can't expect our novice new project managers to be strategic thinkers. But as they develop experience, and we need to put it on ourselves as we develop experience to start embracing this idea that we got to get out beyond the boundaries of just what project management is when we were studying for our PMP. That's important, really good stuff, high value, but we also need to be strategic, which goes beyond that. One of the things to even think about is just own it. Be a strategic project manager. Present yourself as that. Use the language of strategic thinking. Even think about how you communicate on your projects. For example, you might be in a position to say my project is 2 weeks ahead of schedule and on budget, and you'll get a golf clap on that for sure. I mean, it's a good thing. Nobody's going to complain about that. But what if you said we expect to start seeing customer satisfaction scores improving 2 weeks sooner than planned? You might get a little more enthusiastic response, right? Start thinking about and anchoring yourself to that strategy and thinking about things through that lens. And it gets you to think differently. It gets your stakeholders to think differently too. And their expectations will elevate. And that can be, that's supportive of you, nourishing for your professional development. So, be objective about your filters and what you think you know. See the big picture. Seek out and listen to other perspectives because projects are vehicles for executing organizational strategy. And there are things beyond the boundaries of traditional, what we think of as project management, that enable us to infuse our project management practice with a strategic angle and a strategic skills and capabilities. So our family of brands would love to help you on your development journey as you start to think about this and lots of different ways that we can work with you. And here are some upcoming classes that can help you build some of your strategic thinking skills and capabilities. So we'd love to see you in some of these. And that gives me about a couple of minutes. That's what I've got for today, folks. So thank you so much.
Excellent, Andrea. Thank you so much. I just want to remind our audience that if they have any last minute questions, to throw them in the chat or in the Q&A. But as a gentle reminder, if you did not attend the full session, don't worry. We'll be sending the recording in an email after the webinar. So please be on the lookout for that if you weren't able to attend the full session. We had, I think, a couple questions, one or two. Yes, we had here one um, for Andrea. So a part of the project tracking and coordination between cross-functional teams, what would you say is a primary to work for on the daily basis for a project manager?
Yeah. So what are we doing sort of daily as a PM? Um, well, it depends on where you're at in the project, of course, and it probably depends on the organization. Some project managers, it's all about scheduling. Some it's all about stakeholder engagement. So it kind of depends. But I mean, I think that it's a lot of the communicating. I think stakeholder engagement is sort of the number one thing right now, right? I mean, everybody talk, and that's for BAs as well. It's all about getting stakeholders engaged and keeping them engaged. So I think a lot of effort is ideally spent in making sure that stakeholders are getting what they want in terms of information, that people are still supportive, that people are, sustaining their commitment. The organization is sustaining commitment, making sure that you're not losing team members to disinterest or those kinds of things. So I think it's also a lot of the communication, the effort that goes into good communication. I mean, we talk about how much time PMs spend communicating, and really good communication takes time. I love another quote from Twain was that I would have written you a shorter letter, but I didn't have time. Being really concise and respectful of people's time in your communication is an effort. So I think there's a lot of that. So that's kind of usually where I go. Yeah.
Excellent. Awesome. We had another question about upcoming courses, and I put I dropped the link for our site, the projectmanagementacademy.com. So you can just go look through some upcoming courses if you find any appealing, anything for your learning plan. But other than that, I believe that should be it. So thank you so much, Andrea.
Thank you so much. You have a .net in the chat. Is it .net or .com, or maybe it doesn't
Oh,
matter?
.net. Yep. No, you got it. Yep. Sorry. Threw
.net.
that
Okay.
in. You're the best. Look at you go.
Okay. Thanks,
Alrighty. Well,
everybody.
thanks,
Thanks
everyone.
for spending your time.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Enjoy the rest of your day, everyone.
Bye
Goodbye.
bye.